to small groups. We're glad that you joined us this week. It's been a few weeks, right? Because we meet every second and fourth Sundays for the most part, we had a fifth Sunday in October, and then we had a first Sunday in November. And so we've had a little space between weeks. That's why we had that thing last week, because I'm like, man, I can't go that long without seeing you all. And I really don't like it that I can't see you all when we meet anyway. So you can see me, but I can't see you. Unless I'm really looking that finder, maybe I can find you. But I don't think that's how that works. Anyway, hopefully you're doing well. Welcome back. We're glad you're here. Hopefully you've had some fellowship together, ate some food together, and now we're going to talk a little bit. But hopefully you've also gone through your beginning questions together as well, your opening questions, to just talk a little bit about the topic for today. And if you haven't figured that out yet, the topic for today is anger. And so if you haven't gone through those questions yet, make sure you go through those. And then after that, if you will, as a group, read John 2, verses 13 through 25. And if you haven't done that yet, I'm going to ask you to pause the video right now. All right. Hopefully you were able to read through that. That story made sense to you. I'm sure you have read this story before. And I want to just remind you that just because you've read a story before, or you've heard the story and you're like, you know what, I'm not even paying attention. I'm not listening to whoever the reader was during this story because yada, 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 temple, blah, 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 blah. I've heard it all before. I'm telling you guys, I'm 42 years old. There are so many stories, including this one, where every time I read this story, something new jumps out at me. And I think it's a good reminder, especially for our topic that we're talking about today of anger. So what I want you to think about is this. When you think of Jesus, when someone says, for instance, if someone says the name Jesus, what comes to mind in your head? Like what do you picture when you think of Jesus? I think what we think of a lot of times when we think of Jesus, we think this kind of quiet and gentle Jesus, right? This lowly Jesus, this very peaceful. Maybe you picture like what the movie show of kind of just Jesus walking down the street, and he's got this beautiful flow of hair that's just flowing in the wind, and this chiseled chin with a wonderful beard, and you think this is just this very docile, this kind, this meek man, right? And you think, oh man, he's just so peaceful. In fact, I remember when I was a kid, when I was growing up at Peace Reformed Church, now Peace Church, I remember as a kid that we'd have to memorize scripture. And when we'd memorize scripture, they'd bring this little card along that had different like trinkets and doodads, good word, on it, that if you said your verse, you got to grab something off of that card. I still remember this. And I remember one time I grabbed this little like index card size piece of wood, and it had a picture of Jesus on it. And it had a picture of Jesus on it. And if I remember correctly, it had like these children all around him. And I think he was even petting like a lamb. I'm pretty sure that's what it looked like. So, you know, when I hear Jesus, sometimes it's the first thing that comes to my mind is Jesus is this calm guy that just like, you know, never rocks the boat. I know he's in boats a lot, but he never rocks the boat, and he's just very chill, right? Just not really big into hurting or yelling at anybody, right? Talks kindly to the disciples. But there is a different side of Jesus, and we just read about it, right? Like there's a different side of Jesus that I don't know if we spend all that much time on. We don't talk about this side of Jesus as much. And in this passage, we catch a glimpse of an angry side of Jesus, right? So let's talk about that a little bit. Here we have Jesus, and it might be difficult for us to grasp this side of Jesus and to understand why Jesus was angry. Why? We got to ask that question, right? Like, why did Jesus get angry in this situation? And the focus of Jesus' attention during this act was towards people who were selling items and taking advantage of the poor, right? Like these people are in the temple and they're taking advantage of all these poor people that are in there and basically running a currency exchange in the temple courts. I know most of you go to Christian schools, and so you have an idea of what the temple was, but what was the temple? Think about that, and you can even pause it for a second if you want to talk about that a little bit, but what was the temple? The temple was where God was, right? Like the temple was the place where God was. It's the dwelling place of God. It's a place where people met with God. It is this holy place, and Jesus really believed that, and these people should have believed this as well, that it was set apart for the worship of God. That's what the temple was for, to worship God. So Jesus' anger is this righteous anger, right? It's this righteous anger because instead of this being the place to worship God, it has turned into this place where they're taking advantage of the poor, something that God would have totally been against. So Jesus' anger is this anger towards sin and injustice or something that is against the heart of God, right? Like he's angry, but he's not sinning in his anger because he's angry because it goes against God and what God stands for. But Jesus' anger goes beyond anger. His actions go beyond anger and judgment towards these people. He's also pointing to the fact of this. Jesus is the temple, right? Have you ever heard the name Emmanuel? Especially during this time of year a little bit, and maybe during Easter you hear that. Emmanuel means what? God with us, right? God with us. So when we think of the story of Jesus, and we think of him being Emmanuel, meaning God with us, and we're saying that the temple is where God is, Jesus is the meeting place, right? He's the meeting place between God and people. So think of the story we just read and try to picture in your mind. Imagine being in that crowd as you watch Jesus throw down. As you think about that, think about the fact that Jesus is there and he's angry. He is not happy, right? He is upset. I don't know about you, but sometimes you see that and you don't want to be in that situation, right? You see someone that gets angry and you're like, I wish I was anywhere but in this situation. But here's the thing, and I just said it, but Jesus is angry for all of the right reasons. He should be angry because all of these people are not treating him, are not treating the temple like it was made for. So when we think that way, it might crush our preconceptions of Jesus. We might look at Jesus and go, that's not the Jesus that I think of. And we might go, man, this Jesus wasn't just this, straight line, never got too low, never got too high guy, right? Like, he had emotions and he had struggles, but the important part is to remember this when it came to anger. When Jesus got angry, he didn't sin in it. Our anger looks different than what Jesus' anger looks like. Now, we can get angry. We can have righteous anger as well. But Jesus' anger looks different than that. Jesus' anger was towards sin. It wasn't just getting angry. Like, for instance, this morning I got angry. I didn't get angry. I was a little frustrated. Let's just put this. I'm filming this on Thursday, and I got a little frustrated because one of our kids did not get out the door on time, and it caused them to be late for school. And it's just like, they had plenty of time. They could have got ready. Maybe that's some of you. You're like, I don't care. I'm not in a hurry. And then time gets away from you, and you are flying out the door, and you make everyone late, and it makes you all look bad. I don't have a right to get angry about that. Like, I can be like, I can encourage my daughter to do better, but that really didn't need for me to be angry at it, right? So sit down. If you do the discussion questions between different talks, now is the time to do it, and you can do it now. Okay. We're going to move on, and I want to tell you a story about a guy named Cody Fisher. Cody Fisher went to Cedarville University, and after going to Cedarville University, he moved to northern Iraq, where he worked with a relief organization. He worked with Kurdish people in war-ravaged areas of Iraq. And when he got there, he noticed that the need of these Kurdish people were abundant. There was tons of health problems, and specifically, there was an issue with heart diseases. All these people had these heart diseases. And the reason why everyone was having these problems with their heart is unknown. But they did believe that it had something to do with the conditions they were in, the hygienic conditions they were in, the overcrowding, the bad housing, the inadequate medical treatment, and also malnutrition that was happening around there. So there's all these things going on, and Cody's seeing this, and he's going, man, what is going on with this? And Cody gets together with another guy named Jeremy, and they strike up a friendship, and they see this need, and they want a long-term solution to this, right? There's all this heart disease going on, and they want to fix this. It broke their hearts that these kids could not receive merely because there weren't any doctors in Iraq who could perform these surgeries. So Cody and Jeremy have this yearning, this hurt, this anger towards the situation, because all these people have this heart problem, and there's nothing that can be done about it. Do you feel the righteous anger stirring up, right? Like, they're frustrated, they're angry, but they're angry for the right reasons. They're angry because they want to help, and there's just not doctors that are available to help. See, if these kids were in another country, say these kids were in the United States or even other countries around Iraq, they could get help very easily because they have the financial ability to do it. And this reality of insufficient health care made Cody and Jeremy angry. But the struggle that they had was they were just poor missionaries. They didn't have the funds that they needed. But they started getting angry about this. But instead of just getting angry and stomping off about it, they decided we need to come up with a solution. We need to figure out how we can help out these children in Iraq. So they brainstormed ways that they could raise funds for kids to have heart surgeries. And eventually they came up with an idea. And this idea was to sell hand-stitched Kurdish shoes, which were called Clash, K-L-A-S-H, to help pay for the kids' surgeries. And their idea took off. In about 5 months, they were able to contribute to the medical expenses of 7 children who might not have received treatment otherwise. Now you might sit here and go, well, that's 7, and you said there was a lot, Josh. And you might be sitting here going, man, I could never do that. I would never come up with that solution. Or maybe you're sitting here and going, you know, that's cool, they did that, but I could never do that. But think about some of the things that you are righteous angry about, and what could you do with that? And you're going to talk about that a little bit more in a second. But let me just continue the story of Cody and Jeremy. They did this, right? 5 months go by, 7 people have this heart surgery that they need because they're able to bring in the resources that they need to get these people in, right? So these 7 children are saved. But this continues on. And this movement grew beyond just shoes. And they started a nonprofit that's been around where it's saved over 2,000 lives from these surgeries. It's this, maybe you've heard of it. It's called the Preemptive Love Coalition. So Cody and Jeremy, because they saw the need and because there was enough anger, righteous anger that stirred up inside of them, they were able to help so many people because of it. But that was righteous anger. This is an anger where they're going, there is something that's not right and we want to fix it. So what I want you to do now is, if you haven't done the discussion questions at the beginning, do those, plus the discussion questions after that. And following that, you're going to do kind of a activity with your youth leaders, which we'll just talk about this more. So this is it for me for today. I hope to see you at the Turkey Bowl on Thanksgiving morning, 7:30 a.m. There'll be donuts. There'll be hot chocolate. If you're like, I don't like playing football, be a cheerleader. There'll be, they did that last year. It was hilarious. But have fun. Mr. Boomstra will be back to ref us again. And don't worry if you're like, I'm not very good at football. It's just for fun. Like, us leaders don't even remember who won last year. Or maybe it's because we don't care who won last year. But bring it. Bring it. That's all I have to say. Bring it. I got new flags. I know that's exciting. I think they're blue and red. Very patriotic. But join us on Thanksgiving Day, November 25th. It's my sister's birthday. Join us in the morning. It'll be a good time. Byron Center Christian. We're the preschool, pre-K, kindergarten meet on the west side, if you know your directions. Here's the thing. Ask your leaders if they know directions, where you're at right now. That's what you need to do right now. Do you know which way is north, east, south, and west from where you are right now? Figure it out. And then go through the discussion questions. I'm up in the UP when you watch this, or on my way at least. Have a wonderful time together. I'll see you soon. And love you guys. I really do. Oh, and if you haven't got a t-shirt yet, make sure you get one. I have them in my office. I'd love to give you one. Come and get one. All right. See ya.